Welcome to the webinar. My name is Eric Bush. I'm the Director of Marketing for Knowledge Advisors for the session today. Our presenter is Richard Rickus from Grant Thornton, where he serves as the Director of Strategic Learning. Richard has been featured at other Knowledge Advisors events, serving as a panelist and presenter at our annual symposium, and also a guest presenter for our fall user group meetings. In this series of webinars, we've invited practitioners from the field to share their story of what their experiences has been within their organizations, answering the important questions about how the measurement journey has affected their organizations. Today, you'll hear a great story about how business intelligence can be used to influence choices within an organization. And with that, I am happy to introduce Richard Rickus to present our webinar today. Richard, take it away.
Thanks, Eric. Glad everybody could join us. I know everyone has busy schedules these days, so thanks for carving out a bit of time. My goal is really to make sure that this is worth your time and that you walk away with 2 or 3 takeaways that you think will make a difference for measurement in your learning function and in your organization. So to that end, what I'd like to be able to do is give you a quick overview of what we're going to cover today. Very briefly, we'll spend a couple minutes talking about our organization so you understand the context of measurement and some of the measures that we'll cover very specifically. I want to understand a little bit about each of you as well so that I can make sure to come in on your channel. We also want to take a look at the broad picture of measurement in our organization, and then dive down and look at our past, so some of the key activities that have gotten us to where we are today, some of the data that we currently look at and how it impacts the choices we make as an organization, and also look ahead to some of the activities that we expect to engage in the near and long-term future. So what I really would like you to do is to ask questions throughout. Hopefully on your panel you can see that you have the ability to ask questions. As those questions come up and I'm able to pause, I will make sure to respond to those, so I won't wait until the end. And I do have some questions for you throughout as well, so I'll ask you to participate in the polls and the chats that I ask, because it will help me understand what's going to be most useful for you. Very briefly about me, I've got just over 20 years of experience in business. I started my career in business development. I've had roles related to that, to client relationship management. And for the last 7.5 years, I've been in the learning function at Grant Thornton. And I've seen a lot of change in business, in our organization, and in learning. And feel like we are working in a very exciting time in our industry. So that said, let me give you a little bit of background on Grant Thornton. Our global vision is really to be empowered people, providing bold leadership and distinctive client service worldwide. And our firm, a couple years ago, went through and really refined our global vision and values. And so this is something that we are really taking into the organization and certainly trying to drive through the learning function as well. In terms of Grant Thornton, for those of you that may not have heard of us, we've been around for just over 85 years. And globally, we've got about $3.5 billion and just over 30,000 partners, or excuse me, 30,000 people working for the organization. In the U.S., we're closer to 5,400 people, and my responsibilities do focus on the U.S. organization. What's interesting, about 7 years ago, the firm had 2,500 professionals and about $400 million. So we've more than doubled our people and nearly tripled our revenue. Why that matters? When you grow that quickly, you have to make sure that you're measuring what's important to help your organization make better business decisions. So the visibility and the importance of measurement has really grown as our firm has grown too. We provide standard accounting services, both audit and tax, and we specialize in a lot of important areas for firms that are looking for those services. We also provide complementary advisory services in the areas that are listed below, and this set of services really helps us serve our clients in a wide variety of business needs that they have. The last thing I'll tell you about our firm relates to how we measure the impact of the investment we make in recruiting, developing, and retaining our people. Our firm is really committed to making sure that we make Grant Thornton a place that people want to work. And what we've done is we've, over the years, applied for several awards to try and see how do we measure against other organizations that are really trying to do the same thing. And I can say as an employee of the firm, I really do feel that our firm is committed to making a difference for our people and making their professional and personal lives work together. So you can see some of the recognition we've had, Working Mother, Companies That Care, and the Best Places to Launch a Career, all of those for many years running now. Pink, which is another organization that actually has I think a list of only 8 organizations that they choose to recognize. Computer World's Best Places to Work in IT. And for those of you that are learning professionals, one that I'm particularly happy about, we've been an ASTD Best Award winner for the 2 years that we've applied. So it's important for us to benchmark against other organizations and see that we actually are stacking up in terms of what we want to accomplish. So that said, the last thing I'll tell you about our organization is our values, because I think that's reflected through the awards that we've received. We do have global values that our people take very seriously, and I think it's important because they do relate to measurement. Each of these, the learning function could really work to measure, and I think we do in particular as it relates to excellence. Excellence in terms of how are we developing skills in people, the types of programs that we offer, and the results that we can deliver to the organization. So as you all think about driving measurement for your organizations, one suggestion I would make, if you're not already doing it, is to connect your measurement to your global vision and values, because that will help it take root in the organization. So that said, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. And with that, I want to go ahead and start a poll. And the question is, in which industry do you work? So take a minute to go ahead and answer that question. We do have a constraint of only being able to have 5 options. So we'll see what shows up for those of you that are in the session. Looks like almost 80% of you have voted at this point. All right, Eric, thanks for closing that out and sharing the results. Looks like just over a third of you are in business or financial services of some sort. If those of you that are in other, if you want to go ahead and type in the text chat, I'll just take a look at those because I am curious what other industries may be on this session as well. Good to see that we've got almost 20% that are nonprofit, higher ed, or government. I think that's important to note because the measurements that any organization puts in place have to be chosen and examined relative to the type of organization that you're in. So that's going to be really important as you're taking in what I have to share. Think about what it means for your industry. Another question that we want to take a look at is how many employees work in your organization? Again, the size of your organization is important to consider when you're thinking about how you're going to drive measurement throughout the organization. So let's take a look at what participants on today's session have to say about their size. So far, it looks like we have a lot of large organizations. Over half of the organizations at this point are over 10,000. That's very sizable. See if we can get the rest of the people here to